So, did you know that contracting officers very often have a big problem where they post bids and contractors, small businesses like you, don't respond to them? They don't bid on them. Maybe it's because they don't find the contract in time. Maybe it's too confusing of a requirement. But nonetheless, it's a real problem if contracting has a job that they need done and they have an end user, a customer, somebody on, perhaps on the DoD or non-DoD side of things, and they're trying to procure this, buy this good or service. And if they can't match the work to you, a small business government contractor, very often, that's going to cause delays. It's going to cause issues for the mission. Whatever the end good or service is supporting is going to be negatively disrupted because of that. So because of all that problem, contracting uses 4 stages to almost every single bid, at least in the federal space, that a requirement will go through. And it's really important for you as a federal government contractor, particularly those of you that are new, recently got your cage code. It's really important that you understand the procurement life cycle of an opportunity, a job, a statement of work that becomes a full-blown requirement that you will eventually write a proposal, price, and respond to. It's really important that you understand the different stages of that procurement cycle and what they mean for contracting, and what they mean for you, a small business government contractor that's trying to win government contracts. So contracting breaks this down, like I said, for almost every requirement. This will go through this same exact timeline. So once you know it, you're going to be able to apply to almost every single contract you look at. There's 4 stages throughout this procurement life cycle, and some, maybe all of these, you will have heard of. You may not know the order, perhaps, that I'm going to share with you. They are sources sought notice, pre-solicitation, solicitation, and award. And I'm going to be breaking down, taking you through all 4 of those in order today, because understanding these lets you know what stage of the life cycle that you're jumping into when you're jumping in at, right? And what you can expect as kind of a return on your investment of time or effort, depending on the stage, right? And I will be using, as we go throughout this, an example, an ongoing example. And that example was kind of interesting. It's the same life cycle, if you will, that they use when a movie is coming out at the movie theaters, a big blockbuster. So I'll demonstrate to you as well. So starting with stage one, very beginning, as far as us vendors are aware of, is the sources sought notice. So very plainly, a sources sought notice is a request for market research. It's contracting putting up bare bones information onto SAM.gov, and they're saying, hey, industry, small business, whoever, it could be large businesses too. Hey, we are conducting market research, okay? And we are interested to know if any of you would be interested in writing a proposal, providing a response, maybe doing the work, right, for this future forthcoming requirement, okay? If you are interested and you want to throw your hat in the ring for our market research consideration, respond to the sources sought notice. And typically it will be answering some of these questions, perhaps about the technical nature or the scope of the work. And also provide us a tailored, customized copy of your capability statement, again, tailored to this requirement, so that we know how and that you are capable and a fit, so that you actually should get adequate, weighting as we consider your business as part of our market research. Okay, so in essence, in short, at this stage 1, contracting is pushing out a sources sought notice to gauge interest. As you can see, there's no contract being awarded at this stage. They are typically also not asking for pricing. Furthermore, they're not asking for any proposal response at length. It really should be limited to answering specific questions and providing some form of a tailored capability statement to match the requirements so that they know you're capable. so that they can take you into consideration. That's what we're expecting at stage one. And to start our example with the movie theater example, this will be the trailer, right? So a movie comes out, maybe we see a trailer being passed around on social media. Maybe one of our friends or family members sends us a text message with a link to a 90-second clip of an upcoming film, the trailer. Okay, the movie isn't out yet. You can't go and watch it. But why? Why do they push out movie trailers to begin with? To build hype, to build excitement, essentially to build interest, right? Imagine if they're just like, okay, next week, there's a movie on Thursday at midnight going to be available. You can go watch it. Nobody's going to go watch it. They used to do that, right? They had to learn from that. Oh my gosh, we've got to take 6 to 9 months, maybe a year in some instances or more, to build hype so that this can be a blockbuster film, so that we can pay everybody what they deserve, and this can be a great return on investment, right? It's not just, okay, next week, here we go. Same with bidding, same with government contracts. If you're a new government contractor, understand that this is a trailer that's coming out. They are building interest. You cannot go and see the movie, or in the case of government contracting, you cannot go and bid on the contract yet. It's not even there. Contracting may not even have fully developed the requirement for you to look at. There's not the full-blown solicitation, pricing tables, etc. Many of the things that we cover here on the channel does not exist at the stage one source to sought stage. What about stage two? So stage two, from the government contracting side, it goes from source to sought, then it goes to pre-solicitation, stage two. So in short, the pre-solicitation is contracting saying, okay, thank you. We received your response to our market research. Based on the responses we've received, for example, and then it'll be like an FYI, it'll be an update. Based on what we've received, we're deciding to go woman-owned small business, set aside on this. Or based on what we received, we don't believe small businesses can fulfill this requirement. We're going to actually, in the future, like this is still in the future. So in the future, we're actually going to open this up to unrestricted, full and open competition, right? So understanding these stages is so important as a small business government contractor, especially so that you know what these stages mean and what they're telling you. So when it comes to the stage two pre-solicitation, you typically, like 99.99% of the time, no response is required. Very rarely, for example, there could be something like an industry day. This could be if it's going to be a larger contract, maybe 10 million plus, where they really need to spend more time with interested vendors like you, and they'll have an in-person industry day. Maybe it'll be online where they'll share more information at this stage perhaps. But again, no response is typically required. There might be a sign-in sheet, there might be an attendance like sort of thing. Very rarely there might be a site visit at this stage as well, and that could come into play. But very typically, none of those things are occurring at the pre-solicitation stage, pre-sol stage. That's requiring much or anything from you officially. It's truly more of an update. It's truly more of an FYI. So for example, if you respond to sources sought, notice stage one, you can follow that opportunity on SAM.gov so that you can see when the stage two pre-solicitation is released, and you can review any update information they have. Perhaps, hey, we expect the full-blown solicitation is going to come out in 30 days. Or we could expect the site visit to be on November 15th. I've got to turn the AC on here. FYI information. Okay, guys, start getting your teams together. You start preparing for the site visit. Now, when it comes to our movie theater example, okay, this is more than just a trailer. You know how, especially on the big movies, there's like the press releases. There's the big marketing push now. The main characters, they're out doing all of the interviews, right? So you can see all the interviews where they show maybe clips from the actual movie more than just the trailer. They're showing behind the scenes, like how we did this, how we did that. More things that are going to get you even more excited, even more interested in, again, when that movie comes out in the future. You can't go and see it just yet. So they're continuing to build hype. So in government contracting, stage 2 pre-sol, they're continuing to build hype, they're continuing to build interest and engagement, so that when you get to stage 3, when the solicitation actually comes out, there's going to be maximum number of bidders, and that's going to be the best use of taxpayers' dollars, right? This is not going to be a flop procurement. There's going to be a lot of interest. There's going to be a lot of responses. That's what contracting wants. They want there to be a lot of competition. Or in the movies, they want a lot of people to go out and watch that movie, of course. They want it to be a blockbuster hit. So without saying, we move to stage 3. That is, for example, when you're searching on sam.gov, you got your filters on the left-hand side, right? Notice type, you'll see solicitation, you'll see combined synopsis solicitation. So stage 3 is that. It's the full-blown solicitation. That's okay. We can literally go to the movie theater, we can buy the ticket, we can go put our butts in the seats, get our popcorn, whatever, and watch and enjoy the movie. That's stage 3. In government contracting, the solicitation is now live. They're not just doing market research. They're not doing FYI updates, anything like that, right? You can literally put in a response, write a proposal, do your pricing, attend a site visit, whatever's required, and potentially you could win that contract. Because you've kind of been following the procurement lifecycle, you're more ready for it than ever. Maybe you've been waiting for this one to drop for 60 days. You've been following, you've been watching it go from source to sought to pre-solicitation, and now it's finally here. You can watch it, you can enjoy it, and you can bid on it and possibly win the contract. Now, I will kind of weigh in a little bit on advice, perhaps suggestions, considerations on all 4 of these stages too, once we get through number 4, because I think it's important for you to also have that additional context that we'll cover in a few minutes. If you are new, and maybe this is one of the first times or the first time you're hearing somebody talk about the 4 stages of a bid and the true procurement lifecycle that nearly all federal contracts go through, right? So now, stage number 4, how does that work? Okay, if we already watched the movie, what could be after that? Okay, so stage 4 in government contracting terms is the award. And yes, if you're in sam.gov and you're in notice type, you can sort by, you can change the search results by source to sought notice. You can change them by pre-solicitation. As I said, solicitation, combined synopsis solicitation if you're searching by stage 3. Or you can also sort by stage 4, which is the award. You can sort by contracts being actually awarded, by award notices. So stage 4 is that award notice. The winning bidder has been chosen. And it's only those who responded at stage 3. So that's why these continue to build and these continue to go in order. So during stage 4, if you responded, maybe you win, maybe you lose, but a award notification is posted publicly on sam.gov. And there's also typically emails sent sometimes to everybody who participated on the contract from contracting, or sometimes it's just the winner receiving an award or a pre-award to sign and to review. Depends. Every bid is different. So stage 4 is the award actually gets awarded, and in my example with movie theater, stage 4 is, okay, I saw the movie, so then what comes after that? After you see the movie, you review the movie. So it's like, how did that go? How was the movie? It's the Rotten Tomatoes. Is it 3.5 stars? Is it 5 stars? Is it 1 star? Like, what was it? So it's a very similar life cycle, even though one is for procurement, one is for actually, watching a movie. But more than that, from their end, they're trying to build up the interest so that there's maximum participation, whether it's a movie or whether it's a bid. Okay, they're both trying to avoid this thing being a flop, and that's why these life cycles exist. It's why they exist. And there's other reasons for government contracting too, of course, for planning purposes and other things. But I promise you, the main thing is that if they're not able to procure what they need, there's going to be a big problem, again, on the mission side of things. So this allows contracting to really back up, 90 plus days to any requirement to make sure that it's not a flop. So let's talk about it. Let's weigh in a little bit on these different stages. And my suggestions, my advice for you new government contractors. And as I share my advice from being in the space over 12 years, what I've seen, what works, what doesn't work. Just know, just like so many other things like I talk about, like GSA schedules, set aside, conferences, capability statements, there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. Context is everything. So the context that I give, for example, for stage 1, responding to a source of sought notice, it's my opinion that if you recently got a cage code and you're a new government contractor, it's my opinion, especially if you're like a team 1, 2, or 3, like it's just you doing this for the most part, and you haven't responded to any contracts yet. You may not even know what you're doing yet. It is my opinion that you do not invest your time and your efforts into responding to any source of sought notices at this time and at this stage of your business. I do think that there is a time and a stage for that, and I will answer that in just a minute. But if you're brand new, you don't have a number of contracts under your belt, I think you should spend 100% of the time and resources you have available to responding to stage 3. Okay? And I might be getting ahead of myself. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. We're talking about stage 1. So I'll talk about stage 1. I don't think you should do it. I think you should save your time for a future, excuse me, a future stage. And the reason for that is you cannot win a contract unless you're doing 8A sole sources, perhaps other sole sourcing procurements that we're not talking about in this video, so I don't want to confuse anybody. So without any other exceptions, you cannot be awarded a contract by responding to a source of sought notice. If you are here to win a government contract, responding to a source of sought notice is not going to increase your chances of winning a government contract. It's simply not. When contracts are awarded, they have to look at the evaluation factors. And never is the evaluation factor, has the business responded to the source of sought notice? Have we gotten their CAPE statement? Never is that a factor referring to source of sought notices when they're trying to award a contract. It's not. It's just not. It's not how contracting works. Okay? That means anybody can just swoop in during the stage 3, and if there's a site visit or whatever, say it's mandatory, they still have to attend that, right? But that's not a stage 1 thing. Anybody could just swoop in. You've been a good little student, you responded to source of sought notice, you've observed the pre-solicitation, now solicitation is here and you're gonna put in this effort to respond to it. Anybody can swoop in, how many times can I say it, and bid on that contract, having skipped all those steps and beat you and win. So as a person who's really careful and intentional with their time and their resources, what would you rather do here? Do you want to do all the extra, knowing that it doesn't influence the outcome of an award? I don't think you should, and that's my reason. And similar with stage 2, okay, typically there's no response required for a pre-solicitation anyways. There's nothing to do there. You observe it, okay, I give you a few extending circumstances, perhaps industry days, etc. Aside from that, it's uncommon. You observe it, there's nothing that you really do. So when it comes to stage 3, we can set up our searches solely looking for those live bids that are due over the next 30 days. Like, we can just focus there for now. And I'll explain that. But for now, if you haven't won contracts, you're new, you got case code, you don't need to be worried about doing it. I've responded to hundreds of sources sought notices. And you don't want to even know how many sources sought notices when my clients come to me that they've responded to in the past. And there's nothing to show for it if you're not doing 8A sole sourcing. If you're doing 8A sole sourcing, you can literally win contracts doing that. But that's another video. Do you get it? Do you understand? I don't know how much more plainly I can explain it. And this is great news, because this is your formal invitation to just crack down and focus on live bids that are due with a real response deadline. You can just get really good at that, because I know distraction and not having a clear path forward is what kills most of you guys with your efforts and even your longevity of trying to do this beyond the 12-month mark. Being unfocused, hearing different strategies is what's going to take you out at the knees. So for now, don't worry about it. Do the one thing that can make you money, okay? If you're in the military, the straightest path between 2 points is a straight line. Always. This is the straight line. You don't have to take the scenic route. You don't have to do that. It's not efficient. You don't have enough manpower focus to do that. Okay, so now let's talk about what if or when. When, okay, Derek, you're talking very strongly and passionately about this. When do you say? When you have contracts, one, under your belt, and you're actually investing a good amount of time managing those, maybe you have a person or two working with you, you've got a little bit of a team, right? And you're responding to the opportunities that are in front of you. Only once you are set up and established to some degree, and you are able to handle the low-hanging fruit over the next 30 days, and you're like, I'm hungry for more. We need to start getting on top of these requirements sooner. Only then would I recommend starting to get to the, as they say, to the left of the requirement. Would you start building out to a longer pipeline? There's no point of having a long pipeline if you can't even handle a short pipeline. It sounds good, it sounds technical, it's very whiteboardy, it's very analytical to build as long as a pipeline as you can, to get left of the requirement as you can. But in all implementation and pragmatic activity, which is what you should be focused on if you're trying to do this, you could find a contract today and respond to it tomorrow. You can find a contract today, respond to it in 5 days. Like, that's just literally how you get work done. You don't need to whiteboard and plan all this stuff out. You're too new. Get established, then get to the left of the requirement. Okay, because then you're going to be able to have things teed up as it comes. But you just don't have that luxury right now. And I've seen it. I know it's the truth. I'll reserve it as my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I know there's so many who don't. And the more married they are to the standard dogma of federal contracting, everybody tells you to do it. Everybody tells you to respond to source of sought notices. I don't know why. It doesn't influence the outcome of an award. And if responding to 2 source of sought notices is the same amount of effort as responding to 1 solicitation, I'd rather you go after the 1 solicitation, because you might actually win a contract there. For these 2, you're guaranteed to win nothing. So, maybe people value their times differently. I'm not sure. But I've done this long enough to be very, very certain about the outcomes for you. And those of you who have responded to many sources sought notices, you may know. And you complain about contracting not responding to emails with bids. They're certainly not going to give you anything. More often than not, responding to a source of sought notice, you might not even get a thank you. So you're going to spend the next half of a day or day and a half tailoring your CAPE statement and answering these 3 pages of questions because you're thinking it's going to do you a solid, and then it's just crickets. Like, you don't even know if they looked at it, okay? Sometimes they do. Sometimes it will. And sometimes it can. But that's, in my mind, it's a luxury. Once you are covering all your bases, you've got all the low-hanging fruit, you got the bids for the next 30 days, you want to go left, go for it. Like, you've got the extra time to do that, by all means. But it is a diminishing return. The best return you get on your time is going after offers. It's the best return. So max out stage 3 if you're trying to get to stage 4. Okay. Now, with that being said, guys, I may have some other things that come to me, but if you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. I try to keep things transparent, bold at times for you. I'm passionate about giving you the truth in government contracting, that others don't share. Okay, everything that I bring to you is from my personal experience and my experience working with my clients. It's not any parroted back dogma type stuff. So that means that I don't agree with a lot of what the industry says, because the industry is basically trying to sell you stuff that is not necessarily at the appropriate stage or time for you. I won't say it's bad, but I'll say it might not be the right time for you. But industry doesn't care about that, because industry wants to take your money. Okay? There's certain things that you can do now that should be your focus. And as you grow, your focus should also evolve and change. That's normal. But to say that everybody should be doing everything in a certain way is it's misplaced, it's inappropriate. Okay? And many of you are not, many in industry are not crafting what's meant for new GovCons. They're just speaking about GovCons as if they're the same. A new government contractor is very different than established government contractor. What an established government contractor needs to worry about and to do is very different than a brand new government contractor that doesn't have any contracts. Okay? So sometimes you listen and you get freaked out about all these requirements and all these things, right? And some things do apply to all government contractors, but some don't. Do you know the difference? Do you know what applies to you and what doesn't apply to you, but only applies to a more experienced government contractor? Do you have things that are sort of like freaking you out, confusing you, that may not even apply to you, but you don't know? Because the way that they're being positioned is that everything is for everybody always, all the time. That's just simply not true. So as I said a few minutes ago, context is everything. And I invite you to, for anything that you're listening to, I invite you to ask yourself, is this for me at my stage, or is this maybe meant for somebody else at a different stage? Because if it is, that's great. But then maybe you don't need to take that message to heart. Maybe you don't need to literally wrap your whole business around something that isn't designed for you. And at worst, it's reckless things being spewed in this space that's intentionally meant to kind of trip you up and confuse you. And those are the things that I try to battle against. You know, I try to be a lighthouse of good, if you will, to show you the truth, because I've lived it, I've done it, I've been in it for the last 12 years, and I'm very outspoken. I'm very convicted in what I know the truth is, and if I see others are being misled to things that are not the truth, I'm going to be a light for anybody who wants to listen. I want to be a light for anybody who wants to learn from what I've had to learn through. It's been incredibly painful. Okay, government contracting is not an easy thing. It's very challenging. Anybody who says it's easy or get rich quick, they're either lying and they've never done it before, or they're trying to get something out of you. So making it sound so easy, low barrier to entry is misleading. Okay? So I have our legal middleman method, for example. I have the umbrella strategy. I have our 10 to 20 you're in the money. Like, I have these concepts, I have these frameworks that I've created. You know, even the 4 stages of a bid. Nobody talks about these in the way that I talk about them. Okay? These exist because they are the truth, and you can check them. They are ironclad. You can go out into the real world and check these things. You will find that the sound that they ring is the sound of truth, because they come from pure intentions and they're really what's out there. Okay, there's a difference between theory, concept, and actually getting in the trenches and what's actually happening. There's a big gap, right? And there's many people who want to sit, you know, in their ivory towers, who would never get their hands dirty. They would never get in the trenches. Okay, they don't come from a history of doing it. A lot of people would give you advice who have never even won a freaking contract. Okay, but again, for those of you who don't know me, this is why I'm sharing a little bit. I've won 32 contracts worth over $15 million. Okay, and the small business clients I've worked with have won more than $75 million now after this winning season with Q4. So more than $75 million. And these are not like just a couple like $20 million contracts, okay? It's a bunch. So when you see something over and over and over and over again, You notice the patterns, you know what truth and reality actually is, and it doesn't always measure up to what is said from theory and concept. So, definitely continue to stick with us, subscribe to the channel, grow with us as I continue to share these truths about the real industry, and I continue to learn. I learn every single day, and when I learn something, what do? I make my notes, okay, and we make a video about it. I share it with you. These videos come at no expense other than your time, which is not an expense, it's an investment. But all these videos here are free. And currently we're doing your daily dose. So I'm literally doing videos Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Central Time every day, okay? Because I'm more passionate, I'm more worked up than ever about getting this information out there and helping as many small businesses, because I think small businesses coming to government contracting need more help than ever. And it's not just the businesses, guys. This is personal. It's more personal than that. It's about you, a person. Are you working a 9 to 5? Are you transitioning out of the military? Did you recently retire, but you're too young to sit still? Are you a college student? All walks of life. Government contracting was a vehicle that I used to pay off, more than $60,000 in student loans, to change my life. And that's been my mission. Government contracting changed my life, and I believe it can change yours too. It's not easy. It's not overly complicated though. And the good news is it seems complicated. It seems overwhelming and it seems intimidating. That's the good news. Those are the spikes. Those are the moats that keeps everybody else out. But if you're here, you're following, you're so far ahead of everybody else. You just have to keep going. And you also have to pick a strategy and stick to it and see it through and be consistent and give it time. Give it a year. You would be amazed what could really happen if you would just do that. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. You might wake up not feeling like doing it. But can you pull up Sam? Can you get on the phone? Can you get on ChatGPT? Can you pull out your Word docs? Put together the best that you can and start putting some real numbers on the board? Can you do that? Of course you can. This is an opportunity where anybody can do it, but not everybody will. And most won't, because they will be defeated by their own expectations that if they haven't won a huge contract in 3 months, that they would say something about how this industry is rigged or whatever people say when they get frustrated. And then they will hop and become a hopper and hop to the next one. And then in 3 to 6 months, they'll burn out on that. And then they'll hop to the next one, hop to the next one. And they realize any of these vehicles could have changed their life. The real problem was actually within them. They were the common denominator all along. And maybe if you've hopped from something else, maybe you've hopped from Amazon, maybe you've hopped from real estate, and maybe you hopped from another business opportunity, you hopped here. Don't keep hopping. Don't be a hopper. Be somebody that let your friends and family call you crazy for the next year. And then after you start to have real traction that speaks for itself, real awards, real money that speaks for itself after 1, 2, even 3 years, real money. Time goes by real fast. Okay, a year goes by so fast. If you are putting your nose to the grindstone, just working your butt off, a year feels like eternity. It feels so long. But the time passes so quickly. And in just a few short years, I've seen it. I continue to see it. You can change your whole life. You can quit your job. You can avoid even having to get a job, right? You can finally, if you're retired, you can finally do the things that you wanted to do. You can sign up for a really exciting adventure. Government contracting is not easy. It's a roller coaster that's full of ups and downs, but it opens many doors to opportunities to meet people, to travel places, to learn about things you never learned about before. It can be really exciting. I've traveled all over the country, managing contracts that I won, seeing people, seeing things, seeing events with the military I never even knew existed, seeing places, making money. Most things that would excite most people would be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Well, that's there and it's available for you to plug into, But what's in the way is you not wanting to do the work, not feeling like it, being afraid to pick up the phone, being intimidated to read the solicitation, being confused about putting the proposal together, not knowing what if your pricing is. You just got to do it. And we create a lot of free videos here. I've got my paid trainings. We've got a 90-day bid challenge where I can do 10 contracts with you. We've got my book, the Legal Middleman Method book, help you navigate the regulations and things. But there's many resources available to you, but none of them replace the common denominator, which is you. And how motivated are you? How much do you want to change your life? Maybe you're not doing this to change your life. Maybe you're just curious about it. That's okay. For me, I was between a rock and a hard place. I had to do something. Like if I didn't make this work, okay, I was going to mentally go down a very bad path very quickly. For those of you who knew my story, with panic attacks and in and out of the hospital and so much student loan debt, I expected myself to be here, but I was living here. And it was only when things got so painful, it was like rock hard place. Boom, smash. Smash the rock, smash the hard place. First contract, second contract, third contract, fourth contract, fifth contract. People at my work, they didn't know how I was doing it. I had zero experience. I had zero training. I didn't even have a computer. I just had a little laptop on just a flat little desk area, little cube, and just scroll. Didn't even know what I was looking at. But I started to listen. I started to pay attention. Started to figure it out. And then my first contract was the road salt. And you probably know my road salt story. So everybody's story is different. I don't know what your story looks like. I don't know what your stories look like to this point. But I know if you have a vision for where you would like your story to go, you can't lose sight of that. It's the most important point. Man without a vision perishes. So you have to wake up every day with that vision. Don't be that common denominator problem. I think we'll wrap it up here, guys. I've also got a free training, Win Contracts Fast Without Wasting Time and Money. I recommend it for absolutely everybody. The link for that is down below. It's 30 minutes. You can jump in it literally right now. If you haven't yet, it's probably what you should do next because it is free. And if you're scrolling on YouTube, you probably have another 30 minutes. So aside from that, I've got a bunch of my other resources, things I mentioned, course, book, 90-day challenge, funding, factoring for those of you who are more established, write proposals for you for established businesses that you want the proposals done for you. Okay, we got a lot of information for that. Any questions, just email us, support@govkidmethod.com. I review all emails. Even if they go to my team, I still review them all, so I see those. Support@govkidmethod.com. And yeah, all the links down below. I guess this video definitely took an interesting turn. It's funny. I don't edit these videos, guys. If I have to clear my throat, that's in the video. So it's an interesting turn sometimes that I'm led to emphasize certain things in certain videos, and that's very interesting, especially as we're doing, again, that daily dose every morning GovCon trainings at 8:30 a.m. Central here on the GovKid Method channel. But yeah, we're not cutting any of this out. We're leaving this all in there. So if this spoke to you, let me know. Definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're brand new, maybe this is your first time watching me, welcome. That's awesome. I love that. Hopefully you continue to choose us, stick around, join our community here, and continue to learn and hang out on this wild ride and journey of life and government contracting that we are all living. So yeah, that'll do it for today, guys. Until next time, you got this.